What is good, Neo family? It's your boy Ray J back with another video, and in this video, I'm going to be talking about the one and only Neo and why I'm extremely bullish for the near-term and long-term futures. I'm also going to talk about why Neo is in the red and why the overall market just tanked today, especially after these latest pieces of news that just came out. I'm also going to talk about other pieces of news that affected Neo quite recently that make me super excited, guys. We do have some big news coming out. I'm also going to talk about why on earth Neo has some big things coming up on their Twitter page that make me even more bullish. But before I do get started, before I say anything about Neo, I do have to mention a couple of things. First off, I'm not a financial legal or taxation expert, so I'll take this as financial legal or taxation advice. Everything in this video is solely for entertainment purposes only. And also, if you guys can, please smash the like button if you want to see more videos like this, and not only for me, but for the entire Neo community as a whole. And the last thing is, if you guys can, please check out the Moomoo link in the description. If you do sign up for Moomoo, you're not only going to qualify for an iPhone 13 Pro giveaway, but you're also going to get up to 5 free stocks, each with up to $3,500. With that out of the way, guys, let's get on with the video. So looking at Neo, it's currently down about 2.85%, which is actually not too bad considering where it was before. We did see Neo drop a little bit lower than that before at around 32, and we're currently still at $34. So it's not necessarily the worst day in the world, but look at the overall market, guys. Neo did not tank because of something it did. It tanked because of the overall market. The overall market is in the red. If you look at the SPY, if you look at the NASDAQ, everything is currently in the red because of the latest pieces of news that just came out. So I'm going to discuss this real quick before I get started with Neo. So look at this right over here. We can see that it has been reported and CPI data is coming out tomorrow. So tomorrow we're going to find out on what on earth is going on with the overall market, what on earth is the rate of inflation, and how this may affect the future for the stock market. So this can be a little bit concerning because we don't necessarily know what's going to come out of this. So we know that there's a lot more uncertainty right now, which is why the market tanked the way it did. This also relates to this article right over here, where it has been reported that America's economy needs to tighten its monetary policy. And this is why the Fed is on the verge of potentially raising interest rates very soon. So this is leading to some fear here and there. It's not necessarily too bad, but I'm just putting it out there that this is one of the reasons why the market did tank the way it did, especially considering the fact that Evergrande has also declared a default, as there are huge restructuring looms that are coming out. So this basically means that a lot of institutional investors, they do use Chinese money for collateral, and this right over here, the fact that they're on the verge of bankruptcy, could be a little bit concerning as well. So there's a lot of uncertainty right now, as you can see, as the NASDAQ did tank, so did the S&P, and this is actually in correlation to the fear and greed index. So right now, guys, it's still looking not too bad, actually. People are still a little bit fearful, but it's not as bad because right now people still feel less and less panicky, especially as Omicron is really kind of getting swayed out of the way right now. It's not as concerning, and the media kind of exaggerated about how concerning we should be about that. It's definitely a big improvement. Things are not as bad. But what else I want to talk about, guys, is the fact that the market right now is in an uncertain phase, and tomorrow we may continue like this depending on what CPI data shows. So if inflation is reported as higher than expected, this could cause the market to drop a little bit, and Neo could drop a little bit more from there. So if you look at the one-day chart, guys, look at what happened. Okay, we ran up to 35, then from there we dropped to 33.90, and we closed at 34 flat. So I wouldn't be surprised if we drop just a little bit if the CPI data isn't that great. But for next week, the start of next week, we're getting closer to Neo Day, and I definitely think we should see a big reversal. I think Neo should see more green candles next week. It's just that there's a lot of uncertainty right now. But right now, guys, look at the overall price movement for today. And I do think we're going to continue like this tomorrow. We were touching the lower band for the large majority of the day. And this is because of the uncertainty that has been unfolding and Neo moving with the overall market. Now, I do want to signify this right over here. We did close just under the mean price, and we were one standard deviation away below it. So that's an indicator that Neo kind of dropped, and we may continue to drop the way we are. But I'm not necessarily too scared. Look at the VWAP right over here. We can see that Neo is right below it, which is another indicator that Neo is undervalued, which makes me think that we should see a reversal for next week. Now, the MACD and the RSI are still looking okay, because if I bring up the 6-month chart, check this out right over here. Right now, we can see that the MACD did flip with the 9-day moving average, and it's still showing we're in kind of the green. It's kind of sideways right now. So I do anticipate that Neo could trade a little bit sideways for just a few days before we see a big rip back to the upside as we approach a Neo Day, because we're getting closer and closer. RSI currently did drop just slightly. It's still at 39.34. Once again, not as bad as before. So I don't see Neo tanking as low as it did before, but I definitely don't see it just exploding like tomorrow. I definitely think that we might drop a little bit before we see another big reversal and we go right back up to the 40s. That's what I anticipate for Neo. But if anything, it didn't crash as horribly as people would have anticipated, because we're only down 2.8%. There were other companies out there like Tesla down over 6%, and I'm just putting it out there. I'm still very bullish for NEO for the long term. I easily see this thing breaking 100, 200, and so on and so forth. But right now, the market is just not in the perfect phase right now. Now, I want to talk about other pieces of news for NEO that make me super excited. Look at this right over here. The Nasdaq is reporting, is NEO the best Chinese electric vehicle stock to buy? And they're talking about the fact that NEO is relatively low right now. It's a very good buy according to a lot of analysts. And they're talking about how the market cap is only 61.5 billion, but they're trading around 11.5 times the sales. And right now we're looking at some really, really, really good months that are coming up in terms of their deliveries. And they're also talking about battery swapping technology that looks really, really good for the company. So the Nasdaq has some positive outlooks for NEO. Now look at this right over here. This is according to cleantechnica.com. We can see that swapping electric car batteries may not seem as silly as they appear. And the reason why this is a very big piece of news is because NEO is seen with much more positive outlook. And people are talking about the fact that Elon Musk even wanted to integrate this in the very beginning, but they ended up not doing that. And NEO, for one, looks very, very promising. And they're talking about the advantages of battery swapping, how it basically works really well in China and it helps people instantly get fully charged batteries. And the cost could be a very good way to finance a company as well, because people pay like monthly fees for it. So once again, a very good article, guys. People are super excited for NEO, and this makes me even more bullish because this is something that's super good for their fundamentals for the future. Now, I wanted to end on this last article involving NEO before I get on with what they said on their Twitter. And the Monthly Fool just reported 3 undervalued EV stocks you could buy and hold for the next decade. And like I said before, I showed you guys the VWAP for NEO, the VWAP, and it basically showed that NEO was below it, which means it could be undervalued, so to speak, relative to the data from below. And what this basically means is, just as Motley Fool stated, guys, and I'm going to scroll down to that. Give me one sec. It states right over here, the number one stock to buy that's undervalued is NEO, according to the Motley Fool. They're saying that it's very, very attractive right now. And of the 2.6 million EVs sold globally, 1.1 million were sold in China alone. So almost half of all EV sales are coming in China. And China is a very big, big, big market, which makes me super excited, guys. Elon Musk also talked about the fact that China is going to have a very, very big GDP very soon. It's going to surpass the United States quite easily. And China is getting bigger, guys. And that, to me, is a very good sign for NEO, because they're in the hot spot for the EV market. Their ET7 is coming out next year. And the Monthly Fool is saying that it looks very, very promising, as a lot of analysts are saying that NEO is definitely a buy. Now, the last thing I want to talk about is this right over here. NEO put this on their Twitter page and states that NEO Day is our annual gala event to celebrate our users, who are our biggest supporters. Because of our users and our community, we're able to continue moving forward, share our accomplishments, and grow together. Once again, a very great quote that came out from NEO. They're basically improving their customer service, they're improving their community, and the people absolutely love it. So December 18th is a big day, guys. We're getting closer and closer and closer. It's less than 2 weeks away, and I'm very excited for what NEO has to announce, because I do think there are going to be some huge catalysts, and I do think that we could have a pretty good year for next year. I'm definitely very excited. Now, the market may not be in the most perfect of positions, which is why we see so many stocks in the red, but I'm still very, very bullish for NEO long term. I know we're going to recover, and I do see another big run up coming very soon for the short term too. Like I said, leading up to NEO Day, we could easily go back not just to the mid, but maybe even high 40s leading up to it. And after that, we'll see what comes from there. But once again, they have big things coming out, from European expansion to the battery swap technology to the ET7. Big updates are coming. So I'm super excited, guys. With that said, guys, I want to thank you for listening. NEO's going to the moon, and never ever give up, guys. Remain patient, calm, cool, and collected, and don't let the FUD get to you. NEO's to the moon, and peace out.